have encounters with Christ, and in our hearts we have to choose whether we're going to follow him or choose not to. In the Bible, people had a physical encounter with Christ, and some chose and some did not.
So I will never forget that day, okay? I mean, I'm sitting there doing my tax work and everything because that's what I do, right? Then all of a sudden this guy walks up and he's like, "Hey, come follow me." And I'm like, "And you are?" And he's like, "Jesus." And I'm like, "And you are with?" You know? And he goes, "God." And I'm like, "Okay then, I guess that means you must make a lot of money. Fill out your form, bring back your money, alright?" And he looks me square in the eye and he says, "Hey Matthew, come follow me." And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was because he knew my name and I didn't know him from Adam, or if it was those eyes, because he had those eyes, you know? But I followed him and I went and hung out with him and his friends. And so it was getting kind of down to dinner, we're getting kind of hungry, our stomachs was grumbling. And I'm like, "Hey, you want to go hang out at my house, you know?" So we get back to my house, and I realize when we get there, I already invited my tax friends over. And I don't know if you know my tax friends, but they're kind of backstabbers, you know? They, you fall off a cliff, rather than give you a hand, they give you a push, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm like, "Oh, this is awkward." My friends are hanging out over here, his friends are hanging out over there. It's kind of dicey. So I'm like, "Hold on a second, I'll go back in the kitchen, grab some cold cuts and diet Snapple, everything will be okay." So I go grab that, and I come back out. You know what I saw? I saw his friends talking to my friends talking to his friends, and do you know what I heard?
I heard some noise coming from Matthew's house. Some colleagues and I had just gotten through praying in the temple, so we decided to investigate the situation. In Matthew's house, I saw a certain man, a man claiming to be the Son of God. I knew this was a teachable moment for all concerned, so I saw one of his so-called disciples lean against the wall, and I asked him, if he truly is the Son of God, what is he doing among all these sinners?
I don't know if that Pharisee meant for Jesus to hear him, but he heard him all right. And he stepped right up to that Pharisee, and he said, "It is the sick who need a doctor, not the well. I come for the sick." And he looked that Pharisee square in the eye, and he said,
He looked at me and he said, "I desire mercy and not sacrifice. Who is he to tell me what he desires? I know the law like the back of my hand. I've been studying it all these years, and he wants to come on the scene and do all these things? He's a magician. He means nothing to me. He means nothing to all of us. So let me tell you what we did. We left. We didn't give him the time of the day. We walked out."
Do you know what I did? I dropped everything, and I followed him, and I became one of his disciples. And you know what? It has made all the difference in my life.
A life. That's all it is. Just one life. And his will end. Oh, he'll get his in the end. Trust me. All it takes is time. All it takes is time.
So we had a big feast that night. You know, the works. Collard greens, green beans, chicken, cornbread. You know how it is. And then Jesus asked us to go to the garden with him. So we did. No big whoop. He liked to pray there. Then he asked me, James, and Peter to go with him. So we did, naturally. And he told us to pray with him while he went forward. So we did. But you gotta remember, we had a big feast that night. We was pretty tired, and we fell asleep. He came and woke us back up. He said, "Can you not pray with me for 1 hour?" And we said yes. But we fell asleep again. Next time we woke up, there was all this noise, all this ruckus. There were soldiers. And guess who was leading? Judas was.
Right there, the one praying by himself. That's Jesus. I'll walk up to him and I'll kiss him on the cheek. Now, the others will try to defend him and make a scene. But follow me, and I'll give you the one you want. Now we get 30 pieces of silver for this, right? 30 pieces of silver. That's what we agreed on, and I want every cent. Do you understand me? This will work. Just remember, the one you want is the one I kiss on the cheek.
Did you see that? Betrayed by a kissing friend. I mean, 30 pieces of silver? Come on now, it wasn't even gold. So, we're furious. And you know what Peter does? He grabs the sword and he cuts off one of the soldiers' ears. But Jesus stopped him. He picked up the ear and he put it right back on the soldier as if nothing happened. And he just let him take him away. I want to say we fought. I want to say I fought for my king, my Lord. But I didn't. I ran. I ran like a scared child.
What have I done? What have I done? I cannot face what I've just done. Was I so stupid in thinking that 30 pieces of silver could restore my soul? Was I so arrogant in wanting man's approval instead of the one who counts? My priorities have been messed up since day one. I cannot live with this decision I've just made. I killed him. I crucified my king. I crucified him.
Crucify him! Crucify him! That's what they all screamed. All of them. The crowd wanted me to kill this innocent man. I have to comply. It's my job to keep peace in this miserable town. And that's exactly what I did. I tried to make it easy on them. It seemed like a simple decision. I gave them the choice to take Barabbas, a well-known criminal, or Jesus, a man who claimed to be king of the Jews. They all wanted me to release Barabbas and take the innocent man.
I still can't believe it. It just doesn't make sense. I'm not the most popular person around here. Maybe you've heard of the Jericho uprising? A few of us held a protest rally against the occupation, and it turned to quite a scuffle. We had a few robberies on the road from Jerusalem to Jericho, and maybe even a few killings. So eventually, we got caught, and I was sentenced to die. So there I am, sitting in my hole of a jail cell, and then all of a sudden, I'm being drug out before people screaming, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" And then Pilate says, "Which of the two do you want me to release to you?" And a unanimous roar, they shout, "Barabbas!" I didn't know what to think. If this man was really the Messiah and the King of Jews, why wouldn't he stand up for himself? Why did he die for me? Why did he do that for me? It should have been me.
Look, there are certain things a person has to do to stay in power. I know it sounds awful, but what would you have done? Maybe that's my problem. I don't like making these types of decisions because of their consequences. Because there's too much talk about this man. I didn't owe Jesus anything. My wife told me to have nothing to do with it, so I gave him over to the people. They made the final decision. He was whipped, flogged, and forced to carry a cross up to Skull Hill, and there he was crucified. He's dead. My guard makes sure of that. Oh wait. Some people say he claimed to come back to life. I doubt that. Not after what my soldiers did to him. It's possible that he had illusions. And it's not the first time someone claimed to have superpowers. It's a crazy man's attempt to have his memory come from the dead. There's no chance.
Holy Moses, holy Moses. It is unbelievable what I just saw. I cannot begin to tell you what I just saw. Okay, so there we were in the boat, fishing, what we do, and all of a sudden, we weren't catching a thing or anything, but this man comes on the beach and he yells, "Cast your net onto the other side," and I dig, no big whoop, and then all of a sudden, a big herd of fish jump in there like it's nothing, and I'm thinking, what is going on? And I look over on the beach and it's Jesus. He's standing right there. And I run to him and I look at him and I say, "Jesus, you're alive and you're here." And he asked me a question. He says, "Peter, do you love me?" And I say, "I love you so much, and you're here and you're alive." And he asked me a second time. He says, "Peter, do you love me?" I say, I love you with everything that I am. And then he asked me a third time, and I'm getting kind of hurt here. I mean, I'm pouring my heart out for this guy, and he's asking me this question. He says, Peter, do you love me? And I look at him dead in the eye and I say, mere words cannot describe the passion I have for you. He says, good, Peter. Now go feed my sheep. Feed my sheep? I didn't even know the man had livestock, But that's just like him. 3 times I deny him, and 3 times he takes me right back. But it wasn't until after he ascended that we were all in the upper room, and we were all sad and stuff, and Mary runs in, and it sounds like she was yelling, beehive, beehive.
I wasn't saying beehive, I was saying he's alive. We went to the tomb and the stone was rolled back. And you know what we saw? Jesus was gone. His body wasn't there. There was an angel there and he said, do not be afraid, for I know that you're looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here. He is risen, just as he said. Come and see the place where you lay, and then go quickly and tell the disciples and Peter that he is risen from the dead. So that's what I'm doing. I ran all the way here to say he's alive.
And then an angel of the Lord appeared to Mary, and he said, tell the disciples and Peter that I'm alive. Those 2 words, and Peter. He said my name. In my lowest of lows, he said my name. After I denied him 3 times, he said my name. And he said,
Theo.
And he said, and he said,
Miranda.
and he said,
Lauren.
and he said,
Emily.
and he said, and he said,
Alan.
and he said,
Addison.
and he said, and he said, and you know what? He says yours too. And that can make all the difference in your life. Ask anyone you know, and they'll tell you Jesus Christ was a real person. That's not the debate. Some chose to believe he was a lunatic. Some chose to believe he was a liar. And some chose him as Lord. What will you choose?